G'day, it's Mark and welcome back to the channel. And in this episode in our Auto History series on the Ford Fairlane, we look at the ZL. The ZL Fairlane was launched in October 1984 and was sold up until May 1988. The ZL was the 10th generation of the Australian Fairlane series and was the third and last in that same body style that was derived from the XD Falcon, which was Project Blackwood. Commencing with the ZJ Fairlane, then the ZK, and then this ZL model, which was the final version in that body style. The car was launched with two 6-cylinder engines, the standard carburetor version of the 4.1 and the optional fuel-injected version. The ZL could be distinguished with new, larger rectangular headlights instead of the four smaller rectangular headlights of the ZJ and the ZK. Personally, I preferred the earlier style quad headlight treatment than the later rectangular treatment, although it did appear more modern. At the rear, the car had simplified taillights with large amber indicators, very reminiscent of the European Ford Granada. And this again was quite a departure away from, I guess, the more American-inspired taillights of the ZJ and the ZK model, which again I preferred to this ZL. The interior came in for some major upgrades with all new seats, new door trims, and a new digital dashboard. The front indicators were now also clear instead of amber. The full digital dashboard was influenced, no doubt, by the association between Ford Australia and Mazda. I'm sure some of that technology was probably leveraged in that execution. The dashboard housed a full complement of digital instrumentation and push-button controls which were mounted on the binnacles of the instrument panel on each side. Even the air conditioning vents were oscillating from left to right to, distribute the airstream effectively throughout the interior. And this was no doubt picked up from some of the Japanese products like the Mazda 929 through Ford's association, 25% ownership of Mazda, but also Ford's long-term association, Ford Australia, with Mazda in Japan. The electronic dash was colour-coded to the interior of the vehicle, and as I said, there were new seats and new door trims. The base engine was the 103 kilowatt, 4.1 litre 6-cylinder, which employed improved engine efficiency. Although mandatory changes to unleaded fuel, as I mentioned before, dropped the output of that engine to 97.5 kilowatts from January 1986. The unleaded versions of the Fairlane and the Falcon, for that matter, could be easily identified by a small repeater lamp from the indicator in the front bumper bar, as you can see here. Also new was an adjustable steering wheel with a rake adjustment, and in the rear seats you also had a fold-down boot hatch, so you could also access things that were stored in the trunk or the boot from the back seat. Cruise control, central locking, and also a trip meter were also added as new features to the Fairlane. Standard wheels on the first series of the Fairlane. There was no Series 2 per se in the changeover to unleaded, but effectively there was a sort of a version 1 and a version 2. But the first version had 14-inch wheels and plastic hubcaps with the option of quite a nice alloy wheel design, almost like a Spider type alloy wheel design. The trip computer in the first version was an option. And that covered things like, fuel used, distance travelled, average speed, average fuel consumption, and kilometres to empty. The instrumentation included speed, obviously, fuel level, temperature, volts, and also the oil level. or oil pressure. On the binnacles, there were switches for the cruise control, the rear window demister, the power antenna. There was also a switch for the interior light, the parking lights and the headlights. While on the left-hand side, this was more related to the climate control in terms of, floor level, face level, vents, demist and so on. There was a limited range of colours available in the Fairlane at that stage. Stark white, ice blue, Atlantic blue, deep aqua, gold mist, Regency red, Jarrah, platinum. There's also a crystal mint, which was a diamond lustre paint. In the early series, the 4.1 litre engine had 103 kilowatts at 3,750 revs, or 316 newton metres at 2,400 revs. And that was the 4.1 litre standard straight six. Optional was the 4.1 fuel injected engine that put out 120 kilowatts at 4,000 revs, or 333 newton metres at 3,000 revs. Only a relatively small upgrade in terms of torque above the standard engine. Dimensions for the Fairlane, overall length was 5,014 millimetres, or 197.4 inches. Overall width was 1,868 millimetres, which is 73.5 inches. The wheelbase was 2,957 millimetres, or 116.4 inches. The overall height was 1,396 millimetres, or 54.9 inches. The front track was 1,548 millimetres, or 60.9 inches, and the rear track was 1,533 millimetres, or 60.4 inches. There was an 80 litre fuel tank, which is 17.6 gallons. Fuel economy, city cycle for the 4.1 engine, the standard engine, was 20.9 miles per gallon, or 13.5 litres per 100. On the highway, 28.3 miles per gallon, or 10 litres per 100. Not too bad. For the fuel-injected engine, 19.5 miles per gallon city cycle, or 14.5 litres per 100. And on the highway cycle, 26.9 miles per gallon, or 10.5 litres per 100 kilometres. Some of the options on the early series car were alloy road wheels, as I mentioned earlier, quite a nice spider pattern. A Philips premium sound system was also available, the trip computer and a towing pack. It's worth noting though that the trip computer was an available option only on the Fairlane with the EFI engine. In other words, you couldn't get the trip computer on the standard 4.1 litre engine. Standard car was still fairly nicely equipped. It had the 4.1 litre alloy head engine standard, electronic ignition, the Watts-Link rear suspension, 3-speed T-bar automatic transmission, the 14-inch steel wheels with plastic hubcaps, the optional alloy wheels, steel belted radials. It also had 4-wheel disc brakes, limited slip differential, power steering, the adjustable steering column, cruise control, the digital instrumentation, power windows, central locking, air conditioning, the motorised oscillating ventilation, as I mentioned before, the rear passenger compartment, air conditioning outlets as well. It had a AM/FM 4-speaker stereo radio cassette system, and it also had power left and right hand side exterior rear view mirrors. Interior was a tweed velvet knit seat facings, which were bucket seats, of course. There's also lumbar support for the driver, as well as seat tilt. The fold-down rear centre armrest where you could access into the boot as well. So, quite a nice package, really, for the standard car. At the time of the upgrade to unleaded fuel, the Standard engine was still available, as was the optional fuel-injected engine, but the car then received a new snowflake-style alloy wheel that became standard. So the hubcaps were no longer available on the standard car; they all had the alloy wheels. Also new, and I guess in keeping with previous Fairlane generations, was the release of a limited edition Fairlane Sportsman. And that was advertised as for the man who plays to win. So I guess I'm not sure what the woman who plays to win should drive, but not a Fairlane according to Ford at the time. And these Fairlane Sportsmans were available in a choice of 3 exclusive colours, which were platinum over dark argent, which is a dark grey, Monza red over dark argent, that looked particularly good, and stark white over dark argent. The cars also had exclusive special body side pin striping, and inside the Sportsman also had a unique interior cloth trim. The background tone was a mid-slate with a rich deep grey woven fabric contrast, and also the clever use of tweed on the seat inserts and also the shoulders. And it actually looked quite nice, actually. The trip computer was also standard fitment on the Sportsman. Now, there's no mention in the brochure of the fuel-injected engine being standard on the Sportsman. And it's interesting because the trip computer was only available on the fuel-injected engine. So it makes me wonder, does that mean that there were some Sportsmans built with a standard 4.1 litre alloy head engine with the trip computer only for the Sportsman? Otherwise, all Sportsmans effectively would have had to have had the fuel-injected engine. That's not made clear in the Ford literature. Also available in the upgraded Fairlane at the unleaded fuel changeover was the driver's left footrest. That was something that was becoming increasingly common on Australian cars. I guess from my point of view, the ZL Fairlane, it's not a bad looking car. I think from a collector's perspective, I guess the lack of a V8 certainly hurts the car. I think compared to a ZJ or a ZK series, I also think those cars look better, but that's just a personal view. I think the interior of the cars, the digital dash, some people like that, others don't. I quite like the digital dashboards. I think they're relatively reliable. Unlike some of the other dashboards that were fitted to things like VK Calais, for example. But the rear tail lights, I just can't come at those. Sorry for people that love their ZL Fairlanes. I just, I don't know. Doesn't speak of luxury to me. It looks very mainstream. And I think the earlier cars, as I said before, you think of the ZJ Fairlane with a really nice sort of Mustang-style tail lights. Then you had the next series of the ZK, which again, quite nice, more American style, I guess. But then it went to this very simplistic, almost Lego-style European sort of looking tail light treatment. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like the ZL tail light treatment? I'll be keen to hear what you think in the comments. A total of 26,195 ZL Fairlanes were produced, and this included 700 Fairlane Sportsmans. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode on the ZL Fairlane. It's a bit of a shame it didn't have the V8. I think if it had a V8, it would have been more popular today, but it's still an interesting car from the 80s. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. Make sure you do check out the full Fairlane Auto History series. There's the ZA, the ZB, the ZC, the ZD, the ZF, the ZG, the ZH, the ZJ, the ZK, and now the ZL, and there'll be more coming. Check out the other playlists on the Auto History series on the Chrysler Valiance, the Holden Commodore, and the Ford Falcon. So thanks again for watching. Please give the episode a thumbs up. It really does make a big difference to the channel, helps it get seen by more enthusiasts, and also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a future episode. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.